All right, folks, I want to get you somewhat comfortable with Adobe Audition. Today, we're not going to talk about how to record. Rather, we're going to talk about how to set up a project. And for the sake of today, we're going to look at how to import audio assets into Adobe, open the program, work around in the program, and save a session so you can come back to it later. Now, this is my method. It's been developed over 2 decades or so. It's not the way to do things, but it's my way to do things, and it will definitely help you get a better understanding of how Audition works. So first things first, let's set up the project before opening up the software. Let's create a brand new folder. Created one right here. It's called Adobe Training. I'd like you to create one called Adobe Training. And if at any point during this session you need to pause the video and catch up, by all means do so. So within this folder, Adobe Training, we are going to create 3 subfolders. These subfolders are going to be called Audio, Exports, and Project Files. What we're going to have in these 3 folders, in Audio, this is where you'll have all the audio that you're going to work with in Adobe Audition. So you can't have it on your desktop or on another external drive. Well, you can, but you'll end up getting yourself into trouble somewhere down the road. So I'd like you to put every piece of audio you're going to work with in this folder called Audio. The export folder will have all of the finished projects, or I should say finished products, whether it's a .wav or a .mp3. This is where you're going to store any mixed down finished projects. So something you're going to deliver to a client or turn in for class. Then finally, project files. This is where Adobe keeps its auto saves and all sorts of other things Adobe does to make Audition work. You'll also keep your .sesx file in there, which is a session file. In Adobe, we call them session files. Okay, so now to open a project in Audition, go up to the little magnifying glass in the upper right corner and type in Audition. Adobe Audition should launch. Great. So we have Adobe Audition up and running. I'm going to size it to the screen here. So this is Adobe Audition in its original launch window. The very first thing I want you to look at is in the upper left corner. We have these 2 buttons called Waveform and Multitrack. These are the 2 windows in which you will use to edit. We'll get a better look at what each of them does here in just a moment. But to set up the project, go ahead and click on Multitrack. Come on, Adobe, it's catching up. All right, we see right now, we've got the option of naming our session and where we're going to keep it. Let's just go ahead and call this Adobe Training. And we're going to browse back to that folder we had initially created. I called it Adobe Training. By all means, please keep this folder on your external hard drive. Okay, you see the session name, Adobe Training. The folder location is going to be here. I'd like it to go into your project files folder. Click choose. Let's go ahead and leave all of these other defaults as they are for now and click OK. So now we are in the multi-track window. So we have an opportunity now to start to import audio and to work in Adobe Audition. Okay, so if you were to go into Canvas, let's open this up and we'll go into Com261. You'll see that we've got a folder called sample audio here under week 2. In sample audio, here are a variety of pieces of audio that I have uploaded for you to work with, and you can click Control, either a right click or Control and a click to save audio as. So we'll just go ahead and start to put these in that folder called Adobe Training in the folder called Audio. So let's just go ahead and get all of these, do whatever it takes to download these. If you need to pause me, that's just fine. But I'm going to go ahead and download all 11 of these. And these are just totally random pieces of audio. Okay, so I now have all of 11 of these pieces of audio downloaded into the audio folder. So you see here in Audition, we have various tracks. You can drag and drop any of these into a track. So you see we've put Brazilian Street Preacher into track 1. We're going to put Magic into track 2. And let's just say we put Music Track into track 3. Great. So we've got 3 tracks populated right now. Up at the top, these are our various tools. We're mainly going to use the Move tool, which the shortcut is V. And we'll also use the Razor tool, which basically cuts a track. I'll show you right now. You can cut it and then switch back to the Move tool, and you can move things apart. You can highlight something and click Delete. And if you later decide that you need to come back to that, Adobe is a non-destructive form of, or at least this window, the multi-track window is a non-destructive way to edit. So you see, I was able just to pull that right back. Okay. So all of our audio is cataloged in the folder called Audio, and that's a term I like to use, cataloging audio. We can see in the audio folder, there it is. We see in the project files folder, we've got our Adobe training.sesx file. That is our session file for Adobe. And in exports, we have nothing yet because we have yet to export anything. Okay, everything is in the multi-track window right now. This is where we could lay things out in sequential order, and or we can, basically layer things as well. So say I've got my music track here. I can play it by hitting the space bar. I decide that's too loud. You see down here, there's like a little, I don't even know what to call this. It looks like some rectangles growing in size. And then when you wave your wand over that, you have the finger with arrows either side. You can boost it up or decrease the volume right there. Do it on all these tracks. So I've now decreased the volume here, and I want to put a simple fade into the front end of it. You see there is this line going through the entire track. It's called a rubber band. When you're in the Move tool, you can click on it and it creates a little dot, and you can basically fade in and fade out. You see to the left of each track, there is an audio meter that's specific to each track. At the bottom, we've got an audio meter, and that is for everything that the playhead is playing in the timeline. So up here, we've got track 2, let's say we wanted that piece of audio to stand out more than it's able to. Let's go ahead and put a fade in here. And then we'll fade it back to its original volume. So we can go. And then we decide we want to fade this down and introduce the Brazilian street preacher.
Jesus, quando pregava em determinada cidade, a palavra de Deus nos mostra que a palavra de Jesus chamou a atenção de homem chamado Zaqueu.
We want to clip off the Brazilian street preacher right here. So we can grab at the very end using our move tool and kind of collapse that part of the file. And we're happy with the way this sounds. This is, for all intents and purposes, this is just a demonstration. You can see the rubber band is at the very bottom down here. And so I no longer need this giant tail of audio. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide that where it ends. And that looks nice and clean. If you want to get in and make any specific edits, meaning like cut out some words, or for the sake of today, let's just talk about cutting out a little bit of audio. We can go into the waveform window. Remember, it's our other window right here, by double clicking on the track or the block of audio in the track. And you see we've got now just this piece of audio to work with. For some reason, I've decided that we need to clip this section. So I hit delete. I go back to the multi-track window, and it's actually moved forward some of the other audio. So we're going to go back in. I'm going to cut this much audio. We'll go back into multi-track, and you see it's now removed that in a destructive manner of editing, meaning I can't go back and fix that. It's now gone. So any type of editing you do in the waveform window is destructive. Any type of editing you do in the multi-track window is non-destructive. All right, we're going to go ahead and collapse this down. I'm happy with the way this music feeds in and uses the magic track as well as the Brazilian street preacher. I want to turn this into one block of audio that I can export. I have two ways I can do this. I can Control A, that highlights everything. And then I would say with a right click or a control click, go down to mix down to new file, selected clips. And now you see it's all been combined into one file. The music's coming back in. And the music fades down. You notice that the audio cuts off very abruptly. So I'm going to highlight this part of the track. I'm going to go up to favorites, and I'm going to say fade out. And you see that put a gentle fade on this piece of audio. And that's just a more pleasant way to finish that track. Okay, now I want to save this. File, export, file. Adobe is dragging on me today. This rarely happens, but I've put my computer through quite a bit today. So bear with it. This is where I name the actual track itself. I'm going to call this Adobe Training Mashup. And again, I need to go put this in my folder, Adobe Training, under Exports. So I'll call it Adobe Training Mashup. It's going in Exports. I'm calling it an MP3. MP3s just take up less space than a wave, but these are the two file formats you'll be saving in, are MP3s and waves. For the sake of today, we're going to save it as an MP3. Click save. You see it's ready to go. Adobe Training Mashup. It's going into this location. The format is an MP3. Leave these alone. Let's go ahead and say okay. And now this should be saved. So we open back up Adobe Training. We look at exports. Boom. There it is.